Hello, my name is Becky Malby. I'm a professor here at London South Bank University, and I'm sorry I can't be with you today, but absolutely delighted that you've got the KSS Sussex Darzi Fellowship going at such an incredible pace at such an important time for clinical leaders. So what we know, of course, about the nature of any high-performing health system is it requires a partnership between management and clinical leadership. And we know that there's been the ebb and flow of support and development for clinical leaders over many years. But actually, the Darzi Fellowship Scheme has been one of those programs that's absolutely stuck, and where fellows have gone on to do some really fantastic work as a result of the program, particularly in leading some difficult change work across the NHS. So I'm really delighted that you've created this headspace in Kent or in Sussex. Just a quick note about the things it takes to transform any health system. And this underpins the program, the Darzi Fellowship program. So we're really committed to the investment in, the proper investment in these clinical leaders and the space and the skills they need to learn to do fabulous work. We're also committed to teaching them the very necessary practical skills for undertaking complex change, including the relational skills, how to work in groups and teams, how to run meetings, how to work across health and social care, how to work with citizens and patients. So South Bank is a very practically focused university, but this is still a master's level course. So we are still doing some really great intelligence work, bringing some good theory, some good research, and some international examples into the scheme. But this is the context, which is how do we build an effective approach to very complex work across multiple stakeholders in very challenging contexts. The program is shaped like this, and it follows something called the Theory, the ULab, Theory U, which is an MIT online MOOC, which is part of the program, which is how you do fantastic, effective, complex change. And so we start in April in 17, finish March 18. And between the first 3 months, we really spend time understanding the nature of the challenge, the project that you've given the fellows to do, the context in which they're doing that project, understanding all the tools and techniques that could be applied to that project, trying to understand stakeholders' commitment to that project, trying to understand the energy, the history, and the possibilities for their project. So really between April and September, we're focusing on what is the project, how could you possibly do it, what would be the best way to do it, where would you do it, what would be the time frame you'd do it in, who do you have to do it with. So that our fellows, many of whom have had a very small picture of how the NHS works, have got to really understand some quite complex, both power dynamics and complex accountability and governance arrangements particularly to do systems work. In September, yourselves as sponsors at South Bank and the fellows sign off a project plan. And this is the agreed sort of line in the sand, really, where we say, okay, we are all completely sighted now on both what the project is and what it's going to take between now and March to do really well, so that you all have something fantastic at the end of the fellowship program. You as an organisation, the fellows, have something to be really proud of. So both parties are excited and pleased with the results of the fellowship program. So really between September and March, it's implementation and evaluation. There are 3 modules in the fellowship program. One is called New Models of Care, which is really getting an understanding of context of policy, systems, organisations, teams, and self, and the nature of the possibility around new models of care. The second one is called Concepts of Quality. What are the key skill sets you need, the key tools you have at your disposal for doing any quality work in the NHS? And we particularly focus on quality improvement, patient safety, systems leadership, and co-production. The third one is leading change projects. This is the nuts and bolts of doing the change. How do you do emergent change? How do you really work with diverse views? How do you bring groups together? How do you plan in a very emergent context? How do you evaluate? How do you design? How do you implement? How do you prototype? How do you review? And so it's the real logistics of doing good change work. Our fellows therefore have a number of skills to do differently. They think differently as a result of the program. They have, through ULab, potentially a network of 85,000 other change champions from around the world. And they work in a number of learning communities, both through the MOOC and through the fellowship program itself. One of the things that we do as part of this program is we connect the system to itself. So they, in every workshop, undertake visits, be it to fantastic co-production sites, places doing brilliant quality work, places doing marvellous new work in new models of care in Kent, Surrey and Sussex, so that these fellows leave with not just a good understanding of your organisation system, but what else is going on in the whole of Kent, Surrey and Sussex, generating some peers, some good network relationships, so that they can bring intelligence into any piece of work they're doing, no matter where they land after the fellowship program, as well as, of course, as bringing that fantastic intelligence resource into your projects. So the requirements are that they attend every part of the program. We ask them to clear all the dates in their diaries before they start. It shouldn't be times when they're taking holidays. These aren't optional. They don't have anything urgent to do at work, which means they can't come, because this is your headspace. If they don't come to the workshops, they can't bring a different way of seeing, a different way of understanding into your local change. So you're proposing a project that is something really, really important for your system, and they absolutely need to focus on that. And to do that, they have to understand how that can be solved, what they can bring to bear on it, and how to be effective leaders in it. So these fellows leave having done a significant work for your organisation and being better clinical leaders as a result of it. So they have a number of workshops with new models of care. They have 2 workshops. The induction week on site, we send you a pro forma for that. We ask you to induct them into the wider NHS. This is not inducting them into fire and health and safety. This is inducting them into the whole range of stakeholders in your project and in the wider NHS. So if you're doing a project on urgent care and your fellows come from an acute background, we'd expect them to be going and sitting into a federation meeting. We'd expect them to be going and talking to the ambulance service. We'd expect them to be going and looking at how boards work. We'd expect them to be going to any integrated governance workshops. So we'd expect them to be out and about, understanding. We'd expect them to talk to citizens, understanding the entirety of the context. So how does the NHS work is the task for that induction week. And that's for you to set up for the fellows after their first workshop. Their viva for that is their assessment for that is a viva with myself and yourself. So they have to present all their learning on new models of care and how it relates to your organisation. This is a gift to your organisation. You co-assess that with me. Core concepts of quality is all the skills on quality. Their assessment is an essay on co-production, evaluating a co-production project they have access to. The third one is leading change projects. It's about emergent change and prototyping. And as part of that, they also have 5 action learning sets, developing a peer group, focusing on their project, co-consulting with us, the faculty team, as experts in change, coaching 3-way, the first one with yourselves, the sponsors, and then 2 more with them on their own. The MOOC I've told you about, and their assessment is a project plan and project report. So you can see this is a very practically focused program. However, it is master's level, and we are expecting our students to do self-directed learning, to do good research work, to act intelligently, to read around the subjects, to bring ideas into practice. For sponsors, you have a number of requirements as part of the PG Cert. You provide the induction week, you set objectives for the fellow with the fellow's coach. You and I review and agree the project plans in September. You co-assess the viva. You join the final project workshop for their reports. There are some supportive events for you. One is at the launch, and one is at midpoint, where you can work with your other sponsors really on anything that you think will be useful in terms of managing and supporting the fellow and the project. There are a number of shared learning points for the program. You're welcome to join the OSHRI Power Lab. It's a fantastic simulation. We have a masterclass on readiness to change with Michael West that you're invited to. You and the rest of the organisation can join the ULab, the MOOC. It's free, and your fellow can lead that process in your organisation. So that's available for everybody in the organisation. The fellows provide a report at the end of every single workshop. It's a web-based report, basically top tips, things that you might find useful that they've done in the workshop, so you're cited on what they've been up to. There is a Pinterest board. This is a web-based library for all the web-based resources in the Kent, Surrey and Sussex programme and the London programme. It's publicly available, so you can follow the board and see what they're learning. And there's a regular newsletter. Here's one post from the last Christmas newsletter about the Darzi alumni event. So that gives you a feel for the whole of the opportunities within the programme, and that really is up to you to take part as much or as little of this part of it as you want to, and happy to talk to you about it. If you have any questions on the fellowship programme, Dave has my email, r.malby@lsbu.ac.uk. I'm on Twitter @BeckyMalby, and of course Dave will be collecting any of your questions from the event today, and I'll post responses back either by video or on a web-based page report, so that hopefully we can answer anything that you need, and it would be delightful to talk to any of you before the programme starts. Thank you, and I hope you really enjoy the day.